Hey there guys, DMO73 here, bringing you the feature match for the week. Good to be back, and today I am bringing you two lists that have been very popular lately. I am piloting the red-green Faerur list that has a lot of success in Italy and a lot of talk about, kind of is the new Mariabella style list. And Josh is playing the red-black-green Lunya list, kind of made popular from the ARG as designed by Team Memoria. They took it to second place with their pilot Zach. And so he is playing that list, Josh is playing that list today to kind of show it off, and I figured what better way to show kind of the two new aggro lists with that idea of the European ban list than to put them against each other. So I am going to be on the play as I rolled the 12 there, so let's see how this goes. Already seeing two Mariabella and two Fiery Foxes in my hand, which feels really good. I don't necessarily need all of those, though, especially since I am going first. I decided to only keep one of the Mariabellas as well, so I could open myself up to seeing, thankfully enough, that Sacred Elf turn 1. Now the red-black-green Lunya list is designed to kind of really push that aggression while also making use of Lunya's pings with Demon Flames and Lethal Arrows to be able to just keep things off your opponent's board. So I play that first turn, Sacred Elf goes to his turn, he plays that, energizes into the first turn Sylvia, so right off the gate swinging with that hyper aggression, makes it so my Sacred Elf can't block and then swings in. Not that I was going to block it with the Sacred Elf anyway. I'll take the 6 damage, pay 3 there for the Precious Memoria. Now the reason why I'm okay taking that damage is because the Lunya list is kind of known to run out of gas, and the Faerur list, if I can kind of establish, is known for really having a lot of pressure in the late game. So my thought is that if I can get to that Mariabella turn 3 and back it up with that Fiery Fox, then I'm in a really good shape. Especially since he already used his Energize, so now here at best he can play a Sylvia or something like that. So now Josh is trying to figure out if he wants to spend his turn putting more pressure on the board or if he wants to try to remove my creatures. He's going to go ahead and move straight to combat and ping the Fiery Fox for the 1. And then hit me for the 6, because again, I'm not going to try to block. Takes me down to 25. Demon Flames the Fiery Fox. In response, I'm going to go ahead and shuffle away that, try to draw a card with the Precious Memoria, let it get killed, goes to the grave, and then bam, down to 25 life. Plays that red cap, which I'm going to go ahead and say, let's just Severing Winds that. I don't want to take any more damage here. Passes the turn to me. Now, unfortunately, in losing that Fiery Fox, I did lose a little bit of pressure that I would have been able to maintain with the Mariabella, whereas like I could immediately sack a stone if I needed to give Mariabella more counters, but instead I'm just going to call a stone and grab the Mariabella anyway. I'm going to grab the Fire Magic Stone to give her the blast counter. I'll attempt to go ahead and Lightning Strike the Sylvia. He's going to go ahead and use Severing Winds on it, which is great because I did the Lightning Strike first, so that way I wouldn't have to lose the blast counter. However, I could have played that much better in terms of just waiting for his turn, where I could have waited for him to play something or waited for him to move to attacks and then played the Lightning Strike and the burn to guarantee that the Sylvia doesn't survive, that he can't cancel it. He's going to pay the 3 life for that red-black Shock Rock, and I'm going to go ahead and exile one of my Sylvias, unfortunately. Plays 1 for Atama. Helps him draw a card, draws into another Severing Winds there. He's going to go into combat. Swing with the Sylvia, making it so my Mariabella can't block, so I'll take that damage and go down to 16. Then just chooses to pass the turn there. Call for a stone. Now I can, thinking about exactly which order I kind of want to do this in. Maybe I want to do Judgments or whatever, but I think I want to go ahead and get the extra counters onto the Mariabella. Go ahead and call the stone here, which I think is the best call. It gives me access to hire more counters with Mariabella for Breeze and Blast. Especially now that I'm up more stones for him and he's a little bit behind there, I can try and get further ahead. Play the White Falcon, which is great when, you know, I already have out since I've got that Elf in my hand, and then try to play another Sacred Elf for ramping, and then try to play that Flying Cloud. Reason why the Flying Cloud is something I really like is because it makes Faerur just this really, really big beast. And then you can, like, after you've swung in with him for flying, then you can pay 1 and bestow it to one of your other green creatures and have them swing in for flying, which just makes for this really potentially huge amount of damage. You think he can become a 20/20 or 20/22, and then that makes him a 22/24, and then you have a flying Sylvia, or a flying Sylvia for 8, or a flying Mariabella for 12, and you can just, like, quickly one-shot your opponent if you've done any damage to them previously. He did Severing Winds it, which was definitely the smartest play. But now the board is really very clear since I took the turn to kind of kill his Tama and his Sylvia and get them out of the way. He's going to play 3 for that Hoster. I don't really have a way to deal with it right now, so that's just going to get to come into play. I don't have a Severing Winds. I have that Feasting in my hand. So the beauty is that he is tapped out when he plays this Hoster. So yes, Hoster is going to be able to burn something for 4 damage, or pings, and the Lunya ping is going to hit something for 1. But the beauty of that is that there's not really any way for him to kill the Mariabella specifically by, like, giving that extra damage or using a Demon Flame or a Lethal Arrow. So my Mariabella is pretty safe, which puts me in a really good spot. So he's going to swing at me for 9 and attempt to kill the White Falcon for the 400 damage from Hoster. And then I go ahead and play this, trying to think about how I want to maybe save the White Falcon or what I'm going to do with it. I use this Feasting to try to flash in, to try to bounce something back to my hand. Like, oh wait, I can use the Sacred Elf to play it better. I'm gonna bounce the Sacred Elf actually back to my hand, which I think is probably the wrong call. I probably should have just let the Falcon survive. And then I'm gonna go ahead and try to block with the Feasting. Oh, so the reason why I didn't save the Falcon, so my apologies. So he tried to kill my Sacred Elf with the Hoster. He was only pinging with the bird for 1, not the full 4. So I saved the Sacred Elf from his ping, and then was able to block with the Feasting since he had no way to kill it. So now with coming into play from the Judgment, I can go grab Tia, which her trigger will then make it so that my bird is able to kill, like, if he takes the damage at all from the Mariabella or from the Falcon ping on the Hoster, then it just immediately dies. So I can quickly clear his board. In response to the Tia trigger, though, he's going to go ahead and sack his Tama to then kill the Falcon, which is very smart. So then I have to burn my counter off of Mariabella to kill the Hoster, which is still good because I get rid of the Hoster here, putting me in a much better position again. I have the 4 counters on Faerur to protect my elves or pump them up. I've got a Mariabella with access to a Breeze counter. Attempt to play another Flying Cloud here with the other Sacred Elf. After playing the first one, he has another Severings for it. So I have no cards in my hand either. But I actually start to think about maybe I go ahead and use my Mariabella counter. I'm feeling pretty safe, so I'm going to go ahead and use the Mariabella cancel counter to keep the Flying Cloud onto the board. And the reason for this is because if there's any kind of crackback or anything, again, being able to finish him right now, having swung with the Mariabella to take him down to 2,700, the Flying Cloud existing and having two 10-10s on the boards means that at this point, I have him. He has to kill both Mariabella and Tia, and with Tia being recovered and Faerur having his counters still to protect Tia, there's really no way for him to push through for that much damage. I'm pretty much completely safe. Calls for another stone, hits another blasting waves here. Pays the 2, 3, 4, plays his own Tia. And the reason why he's doing this is because, again, he has to try to get something out of the way. So with his Tia, he's going to make it so that my Mariabella will get killed because I can't protect Mariabella with Faerur. And then I'm okay with that because, again, he can't possibly kill both Tia and Mariabella. So, you know, next turn I could just make Faerur really huge, fly over, and then bestow the Flying Cloud onto Tia and swing in, or just use Tia's effect to tap and kill him, because she can deal 1,000 damage to target player. Plays that Falcon that he just searched out of his deck. He does have swiftness, so he can go ahead and swing in and ping the Mariabella to kill it, but because my Faerur has flying, thanks to Flying Cloud, I can actually just block with Faerur, leaving him with even less on the board here. Just a Tia that he really can't do anything with because he's tapped out. So going into my turn, recover, and then the two of us kind of look and say, yeah, there's really nothing he can do at this point. Swing in for the 20 damage with Faerur, and then use Tia to just go ahead and kill him for the extra 1,000 damage. So 30 right there, or 3,200 damage right there just between the two of them, and we move on to the second game. So he is on the play this time, which is nice, you know, better for him. He takes a little bit more time to be able to push in that damage. Hopefully he can get in enough damage and establish a board state before I can drop. You know, having his creatures already on board when I'm trying to play creatures is actually better for him, because like then if I'm not killing them, then he has an easier time killing my stuff, because he doesn't have to play a creature and open himself up to severing winds to kill something. He can just swing, ping, and kill with stuff that's already on the board, which is much better for him. Hits that first turn Scorched Bales, plays a red cap, swings, pings itself for 1 because it has to, and then hits me for 2, down to 38. Drawing for turn, I'm going to go ahead and call stone. I hit a basic red, which is not what I wanted to see. And then again, knowing how his deck operates, I don't want to put out a creature too soon, so I'm just going to go ahead and say we're going to pass and take some damage. Him not seeing green is great for me because this means I don't have to deal with Sylvia's, thankfully enough. He's going to swing in, ping himself for 1, and then deal 2 to me, take me down to 36. Unfortunately, he has this boar, and that boar is not something I wanted to see at all. So when he swings, I'm actually going to go ahead and energize and use the Invisible Flame. Now, this is a card that I sideboarded in. We did do sideboarding in this match because it was in a tournament, because I wanted to be able to ping to get his creatures off the board, and that 6 damage is kind of relevant. Going into my turn, I hit a Precious Memoria, go down to 33 because I'm going to pay for it. I'm going to go ahead and play the Fiery Fox. Main reason why I want the Fiery Fox here is because I do have that Faerur spell in my hand, so I can like sack one of the stones, draw a card off of the Precious Memoria, and then like cancel his like attempt to kill my Fiery Fox off the ping. That's provided he doesn't have another big creature for me to deal with, but again, it's based on which direction he decides to take his turn. Calls for a stone, finally sees that green source. Pays 2, plays the boar. He's going to go ahead and say go to combat. He's going to ping me for 2. and ping the Fiery Fox for 1, so I go down to 31. Attempts to use the lethal arrow, and I'm going to respond by debating whether or not to use the Fiery Fox here. But I say, wait a minute, it's your second card for the turn. I don't need to use the Fiery Fox. I can Severing Winds, so it's actually pretty safe for me. So I'm going to take the 7 damage from the boar, go down to 24, which is a little unfortunate. But then I can draw for my turn. Thankfully, I see a Mariabella there, which means I'm only 1 turn away from being able to kind of reestablish, and I've got lots of removal in my hand. I just need to deal with that boar that's on the board. And thankfully enough, I see a Wind Basic Magic Stone right when I need it. The deck plays 2, because I have that Red Riding Hood in my hand, and I can use it to crash into his boar and trade with it to get that 7 damage off the board, backing it up with the Fiery Fox and the Soul Debt to be able to answer if he plays a big aggressive creature next turn, as well as having the Faerur spell to protect myself. I actually make a kind of risky move here by tapping out to play the second Fiery Fox. My main thought behind having the Fiery Fox, playing the second Fiery Fox, is if he does have the Severing Winds here, I can use the first to sack a stone, draw a card, get the Faerur spell active, because the only stones left in my deck are red-green or basic green, so I will be able to use that Faerur spell. And then I've removed 1 more card from his hand. Thankfully enough, though, he has no Severing Winds there, so I'm pretty safe. So now if Mariabella comes down next turn, it potentially is going to be for a lot of value, simply because of the fact that I will have 4 stones and 2 Fiery Foxes to be able to grab stuff with. So potentially, Mariabella will have 3 counters, 3 breeze counters and 2 blast counters, which is excellent. He hits his red-black stone there. That makes me exile a card. Takes my Flame Horse. Goes to combat, swings in for 2, pings one of my Fiery Foxes. I'll go ahead and take the 2, go down to 22. Now he has to decide what he wants to do here. He does have access to that 2-drop Unending Hatred, but that would mean that the rest of his turn is pretty much spent, because he wouldn't be able to cast anything of relevance there, so he decides to actually cast the Hoster. Now he can back the Hoster up with that Rapid Growth, which is actually pretty major, considering that's going to swing in for 9 damage. So he's going to attempt to swing in. He's going to try to burn my Fiery Fox. He's kind of spreading the burns out on either side, and then in my response to that, I'm going to go ahead and say, well, I'm going to sack 1, draw a card, get a new stone. Unfortunately, I hit my last basic stone here, which now means Mariabella's not going to be able to grab a basic stone out of the deck, which is unfortunate. I'll pay the 3 for the Priscia stone that comes into play, and then I'm going to go ahead and Soul Debt the Hoster, putting it back at the bottom of his deck. So now at this point, his hand is absolutely unusable. He doesn't have anything in his hand that he can make use of this turn, which is really good for me, because I'm going to be able to play that Mariabella and really back it up. As you can see, I have another Soul Debt there, so I'll be able to use Mariabella potentially twice for 1,000 damage worth of burn, 2 cancels, and I'll have the access to the Faerur spell and the Soul Debts. Now, if I really wanted to be risky, I could use this Fiery Foxes right now and just sack the stones, get the counters right now, and play the 3rd Fiery Fox. But there's really no point for me to do that, because it's better for me to save that 2 will for figuring out exactly what I need to do to answer his play. With him only having red cap on board and me being at 1900 life, there's really not much he can do to get through this kind of wall of defense here. unless he decides to try to pay 2,000 life and use Final Battle, but I'm pretty sure that deck doesn't run it. And that's going to cost him a lot, pretty much, again, his whole turn to use the Final Battle, because I'm going to be canceling pretty much everything he can try to use with the Mariabellas by sacking stones off and drawing cards and trying to cancel it with Mariabella. In response to him moving to combat, I'm going to go ahead and sack the stone off with Fiery Fox, hit the Precious Memoria, get myself down to 1,600, get the stone triggers to go to Mariabella having one of each counter, and then burning his red cap so he can't even, so I'm forcing him to play cards to even be able to try to burn. He will get to go grab a red cap from his deck, which is fine for me, because again, I want him to try to be wasting his stones just playing creatures, so that it costs him even more to try to kill that Mariabella than anything else. Pays 1 red, casts the red cap. It's like, that's fine. It's going to attempt to swing. I'm going to go ahead and block with the Mariabella. Goes and gets another red cap here. Mariabella now has 3 damage on her. And again, if he chooses to waste all of his resources just trying to kill the Mariabella, then next turn I can just flip Faerur and have the Tia and the White Falcon and just say, good job wasting all your resources trying to answer it. Now you're just going to get punished. So I'm going to attempt to... He's going to play the Lethal Arrow to try to kill the Mariabella. I'm going to pay 1 to try to cancel it. He's going to pay into it 1. I'm going to use the Fiery Fox in response after floating some green. Sack the stone, draw a card, get a new card, get another counter on Mariabella, and then immediately spend the 1 breeze counter to try to force him to cancel it again. And then I'll go ahead and use the Faerur's spell there to kind of cancel it out. So now that you've wasted your will trying to cast this Lethal Arrow, I'm going to leave you with just 1 will, which means if you played that red cap, I can just kill it with Mariabella, and your field's completely open to my my board state and my flip. He is going to go ahead and play the red cap, because he's like, well, I might as well attempt to swing in, and then I'll just burn it to death with the Mariabella counter. So he gets to go grab another red cap out of his deck here. Now, the interesting thing here is if I had let that first red cap actually swing, you saw I top decked into that Trap Master. I would have been able to cast the Trap Master for free and had another creature on board while also saving the Mariabella counter, because it would have been his 3rd creature swinging for the turn, which would have put him in an even more dangerous state, even more lethal state. But again, I was being proactive, and I wanted him to use as many resources as possible before he could even try to kill the Mariabella, which was the bright call, especially since I didn't have the Trap Master in hand. Knowing that I have the 2 Fiery Foxes here, I decided to spend 4 will to flip Faerur, which is going to go let me get Tia. If I wanted to grab the White Falcon as well, I could use the Fiery Fox to sack a stone and then play the Tia immediately, but I'm being cautious. There's no real reason for me to use that will unless I need it, and this way I can do the surprise Soul Debt if necessary. So after that, I'm going to swing at him for 10 with the Mariabella, taking him down to that 27 life point swing again, putting him in a position where he has to kill both Mariabella and Tia, and it's literally impossible with what I've got in my hand, and the fact that I've got 2 cancels with Mariabella. So it's just an unwinnable situation for him. Even if he plays a bunch of creatures or tries to do anything else, Faerur can protect both himself and Tia, and I've got Mariabella to also back that up. And this is the situation that the red-green Faerur deck just loves to be in, having Fiery Foxes to make your opponent, especially with a Mariabella against an opponent's empty field, so that anything they try to do just gets beat down, and then you just have an open field for your turn to be able to run wild. Really, really nice, and it's the really big strength of the deck. Pays 1, plays the red cap. I say, sure, that's fine, you can play a red cap. He's Going to attempt to swing. Pings me for 1, or tries to swing at me for 2. Pinging the Mariabella for 1. I'm like, yeah, sure. I'm going to go ahead and block with Tia. So Tia will kill it, and he doesn't have any red caps left at this point. So you see he has that rapid growth in his hand. The problem here with the rapid growth is that because I haven't used the Fiery Foxes yet, and he knows that I'm going to get those counters off of Mariabella, even if he plays the rapid growth, in response I can just give Mariabella a blast counter and kill it. So then he's just wasted 1 will on a pump that can't even be used. And at this point in time, all he has left in his hand is a Thunder or an opportunity to peek at my hand with the Unending Hatred. So he's going to play it out, but at this point the game is over. He's deciding whether he wants to just use the lightning strike on me or not, just for fun. Or if he wants to try to peek at my hand and see what he can steal out of it, even though he knows that he's just facing down lethal. The two of us are just kind of talking in the background here. He says, "Oh, I'm going to strike you." And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'll go down to 11. And then he's like, well, I guess I'll play... Unending Hatred. And I'm like, yeah, sure, I think that's fine too. Actually, no, I'm gonna go ahead and try to cancel it. So I go sack the green stone, get a stone there, get the counters, attempt to make him cancel it. And he's like, oh, well, I'll do it. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll sack another stone here and just really set you out for the game. Won't pay the life because I want to stay at 11 just in case for some reason he has some tricks up his sleeve. I'll get the other counters and then I'll cancel that effect as well, making sure there's nothing in my hand I need to cast. Get the other counters, bend the breeze counter to cancel it. He's like, sure, that's fine, I'm tapped out. Calls his stone, has 1 and passes the turn. Draw for me, and again in the same way everything just opens up and I just get to swing in here. Fair is gonna hit him for I think I hit him for the full 2,000 here. I'll swing at him for 10 with Mariabella, take him down to 17. Remove 1 of the counters from Faerur to make him an 11, take him down to 6. And then I won't even use the Tia here. I actually just played the Sylvia from my hand and say, well, you know what, I haven't used her all game. I'm going to play my Sylvia and finish the game off using Sylvia for 6 damage. So that is it. Huge thanks to Josh and Team Memoria for playing against me and showing off the list. See you guys next time. Huge thanks to the patrons of the channel. You see their names on the screen here, some of them, and the rest are down below in the description for their support of the channel and the content. If you want to get a chance to get your name in the screen here and access to our private Discord server, please consider supporting the channel on Patreon by clicking that little P on the screen. Thanks so much. See you next time.